Yes, thank you very much. It is a very special pleasure and honor for me to speak here today in Beersheba, especially about German immigration and integration politics and identity policies. So there's one top issue in Western European countries like France, UK and Germany in these times, and this is migration. Immigration. Who is coming? How many people are coming? Is immigration good or bad for the society, for the national economy, for the labor market, for the social welfare system, and so on? This is the debate we are seeing very, very strong in these days. Since religious and cultural diversity in these countries and in Germany, which is my focus today, is to a very large extent a result of immigration, the discourse about minority rights and social cohesion is always linked to the discourse about immigration and the question of immigration. The reality and the idea behind this link are less diverse societies becoming more and more diverse in quantity and quality due to immigration over the last decades. So the question for Western European societies is, how do people and politics deal with this transformation? That's what we call in Germany integration and integration policy. So how do people deal with the increasing cultural diversity? And the answer of the political level is integration policies. So this is a very different perspective than in regions where very different ethnic and cultural groups have always been living together. I think this is important to understand. So. Actually, in Germany, we observe a cleavage which has always been there, but has come to the surface once again in the last months. On the one hand, for example, there have never been, and there are surveys about it, there have never been so many people engaged in welcoming and helping refugees. There is an impressive surge of solidarity for mainly Syrian refugees. There's also a frequent survey of an important think tank for integration and migration issues that says that the so-called integration climate, so the perception of the people of living together with people with different cultural background, is very positive and it is stable. On the other hand, there are demonstrations against immigration, for example, the Pegida movement in Dresden, you might have heard about it. Where every week thousands were in the streets under the flag of patriotic Europeans against the Islamization of the Occident. They started in October and had their peak in January after the Charlie Hebdo attack in Paris. So now they are declining, and it's like maybe some hundreds. And there have been also demonstrations against the Pegida demonstrations, who were bigger than the Pegida demonstrations, but the Pegida demonstrations dominated the media and the public discourse. In other parts of the country, people demonstrate against the opening of new refugee centers in their neighborhood. This is the other picture you can see there. And radicals even set fire to a newly renovated and almost finished refugee center. So the fact is that immigration and integration concerns the people, whatever their basic attitude towards it might it be positive or negative. Here you can see a frequently conducted poll identifying the most important issues for Germans. The red line is unemployment, and it starts in the year 2000 on the left. So unemployment has always been the most important question for Germans. Then there is the orange line, which is pensions, purple is education, black is economy, and finally yellow is immigration, foreigners and integration. So what happened last autumn is that the yellow line got ahead of unemployment and is by now the most important issue concerning the German population. By the way, this is the answer people gave after the European elections in France, what the most important issue was for their votes. And you see again immigration in the first place. And we know that the Front National, the right-wing populist party in France, won practically with 25% the European elections in France. So why is that so, and how do political parties deal with it? Do the right-wing populist parties kind of push the other parties towards more restrictive immigration policies and exclusive models of identity, national identity? This is a very, very interesting, important question, and it's early to answer it in a conclusive way because we are now kind of in process of what is happening. But I would like to analyze a little bit what is happening in Germany so far, and start with some historical facts and figures about migration and ethnic diversity. This is the migration balance of Germany of the last decades. The upper line indicates the number of immigrants, the lower line the number of people who left Germany, and the space in between is the sum of both, so the so-called migration balance, immigrants minus emigrants. And you can see that there is in the last years considerable increasement. The last year there is 2013. We don't have the number for all immigrant categories for 2014 so far, but we know that the increasement is still there, and also in 2015 the tendency is the same. In 2013, 1,230,000 people moved to Germany. This was the highest number since 1993. And the migration balance was about 450,000, which was also the highest number. Germany is by now the second most important country for migrants in the world after the United States. About two-thirds of the immigrants come from other European member states because they need no visa or residence permit. They can just come and find a job. So European mobility is an important factor in these numbers, an important factor in migration issues. About 11% in 2013 were refugees. They dominate the public discourse because local authorities are obliged to offer shelter, food and social services, and they are often unable to cope with the quickly rising number of refugees, of new arrivals. This is the number of applications for asylum. Again, the statistics stop in 2013 when we had about 130,000. No, I can't. Well, however, we know already the number for 2014. It was about 200,000. And some days ago, the Federal Agency for Refugees and Immigration published that they estimate about 450,000 refugees will come to Germany in this year. So we will be again on the highest level we had in the beginning of the 1990s. And in the 1990s, we also had a very heated debate. You already named it, the boat is full and it's enough. So this is going to be a very, very important, interesting year to see how the positive integration climate, how it's going to develop. So far, this is all flow numbers, but we also want to talk about the landscape of diversity, the landscape of identities in Germany. So the stock or the society we can see now. But in order to understand it, it's important to look a little bit back to history and understand that Western European countries and it's not only Germany but also others had the most important immigration beginning in the 1950s and 60s when they brought unskilled and semi-skilled workers in to work in factories. Germany had the first recruitment agreement with Italy in 1954. So it was all about agreements between receiving countries and sending countries. Other European countries were Spain, Greece and Portugal. And other countries, non-European countries, Morocco, Tunisia and Turkey. People with Turkish origin are still today, they constitute the biggest and most important ethnic minority in Germany. They are important not only because they are many, they are the biggest group, but they are also very well organized. They are well organized on a religious level and on a political level. They have their associations. So in all the dialogue forums with political authorities from the local level to the federal level, they are very active. But in the 50s and 60s, when those people came, Herr Borchert already said it, they were supposed to go back after some years. Nobody expected them to stay. So there was nothing like integration policy for them, not in the educational level, not for the language, not for integration to the labor market. And those people themselves expected them to go back one day, once we have earned enough money, once we reach the pension age, once the children finish school. So it was always postponed. And yeah, in the 70s, this the immigration of the workforce was stopped, but those people started to bring their families. So what happened then? Family reunion is a completely non-controllable immigration, and it's not related to the labor market. So in the 70s and 80s, the number of immigrants who were integrated to the labor market, ran dramatically low. So in the combination of a massive immigration of unskilled and non-skilled people, and the lack of any integration policies, this combination led to a stable ethno-social lower class. And this is when we have problems. There are no problems about different cultures in se, but the combination of ethnic diversity and social problems at the end creates problems. What I just described is very similar in, for example, the Netherlands and in Austria. So when we talk with migration experts from these other countries, they had the same or similar history and face similar challenges. But of course the strategies have been different. But now, in the last years, integration policies in these countries are quite similar. So we learn from each other, and all of those follow this pragmatic turn I want to talk about now. I already said that in the 90s, the families themselves realized that they were going to stay in Germany. It was the moment when their grandchildren started to go to school, because then the people realized, okay, we saved some money, we bought a house for when we are old in our home country, but our grandchildren are going to school here, so for them Germany is their home now. And when we go to our home, then we are not with our family anymore. So they realized that this was a life project, and not just for some years. It was in the 90s when also the political sphere started to realize this. So around the year 2000, we had this first paradigm shift, which I would call the pragmatic turn. So we turned to a pragmatic integration policy. For Germany, just some examples. There are integration summits held by the Chancellor with representatives of the minorities, and they worked on a national integration plan. There's now the German Islam Conference, a dialogue forum between the state and the Muslim communities. There are now integration courses for all people who come now as newcomers to the country, who learn the language and who have this orientation course about the education system, the legal system, a little bit of history and culture. There's one very important new policy, in my opinion, that people often do not talk so much or don't know so much about, but I think it's very important. It's a language test for all children at age of 4 or 5. They all have this language test, and in the moment that their language ability is not good enough to enter school, they have 1 year with special training. And this is so important, because if the language ability is not good enough at the beginning of the education career, it will always be, it will not go like this, but like this. So the whole working career will be affected. And this language course is not only for migrant children, but for all, because there are also German children who do not speak German well enough to enter school. And the last new policy is about naturalization. Now children of foreign parents born in Germany can, under certain circumstances, automatically have the German nationality. And this was a real paradigm shift compared to the old citizenship law, where only children of Germans would automatically be Germans. So you can see here the German population, and about 20%, so 1/5, has a migration background, so or migrated him or herself, or one parent migrated or is a foreigner. And you see that half of this group, half of these 20%, are German nationals, or due to naturalization, or due to this new citizenship law that children born in Germany are automatically Germans. And the other half are foreigners, so they have another passport, not the German passport. These are the main countries of origin of people with migration background living in Germany now. And you can see that Turkey is the most important and biggest group with, almost 18%. This, this number is decreasing because we have this huge immigration flows now. So the Turkish community, who is there for decades, in relation to other communities, is losing a little bit of its importance. And also the number of communities and ethnicities is growing. So in this brown part, which means others, all the other countries of origin, there are very, very many little slices of the cake, and this cake would have had a quite different aspect 30, 40 years ago, when it was only like 5, 6, 7 ethnic groups who built this community of foreigners, and now it's more and more smaller groups from all over the world. So the grade of diversity is increasing. And you see Poland on the second. There are the Polish people are the biggest number of immigrants now to Germany. So now already they are on the second in the second position. Then Russian Federation, Kazakhstan, Italy, one of the old recruitment agreement countries, only on the 5th, 6th place now. Okay. This is the age pyramid of the German population, and you see the darkest color in the center are foreigners. The other color, a little bit darker, are German nationals with migration background, and all the others, the lightest colors are Germans without migration background. So you can see that foreigners are mainly in the age where people also would work, and many of the children have a migration background. What is striking here is that among the children under 5, 35%, so 1/3, has a migration background. And this is like looking in the future of the German society, because these children will grow older, and they build the German society of the future. So one lesson learned from this is that migrants and the integration are a crucial factor in Germany's future. And another lesson is a demographic one, because you see that if it would go on like this, we would die out. That we need more immigration in the future than we had in the past. So what's the political strategy we see now? Western European societies and so also Germany need immigration for demographic and economic reasons. We also want to be modern and open-minded societies. We have in Germany for the time being huge immigration numbers that are, however, hardly controllable. EU citizens can just come, refugees just come, so it's to a large extent a non-managed migration. Some people start to feel overrun. The topic is of most important concern for the people, and right-wing populists play on the fear of people and foster racist attitudes. So what's the answer of the democratic parties? We've seen a certain shift in the UK and France towards more restrictive immigration policies, because they own all the polls, of course. And in Germany something quite interesting happened. That's an initiative of the General Secretary of the CDU, which is the party of Angela Merkel. he just launched a public debate, which is, I think it's quite interesting because it might be a symbol or a sign for a new paradigm shift here. So after the pragmatic turn, there is a new a new turn in a new direction we are going to. He proposed to make a new immigration law. You must know that our law now has another name. It's called residence law. So it's about the right to be and stay in Germany, but it's not about immigration. Having an immigration law means to be an immigration country. So it means that we say we want people, we attract people actively, we want them to stay and to be an integral part of the society. And that's the important difference. So what it is really about is the self-image of Germany as an immigration country. I don't know if we will have that kind of law, but we already have this public debate about what does it mean to be a country of immigration, how can migration be managed, which means also to limit the migration that is not beneficial and to foster the one we want. So, and what are the criteria for the migration that is good for the country? Is it economic, political, maybe cultural criteria? This is not only a highly controversial question, but it is also a new one. It is new because it's new that migration is discussed so openly in the light of benefits and costs. But that's also a part of being an immigration country. When we look, for example, to the classical immigration countries like Canada, USA, Australia. So this debate is now beginning, and especially the question what cultural criteria would mean. Some people say that migrants from certain countries integrate easily to the German society than others, and that's why immigration from certain countries should be privileged and from others reduced. In my opinion, nobody should be excluded just because he applies for immigration from a certain country. But what is important is what is in someone's head. Do immigrants bring the democratic values that are the basis and precondition for living together in an ever more diverse society, like tolerance towards people of other beliefs, respect of the rule of law, the separation of politics and religion, equal rights for women and men, and so on. So how can the community guarantee for these basic rules when people come in, maybe bring different experiences from non-democratic systems? So, on the one hand, there's this kind of move once again a little bit away from multiculturalism. Politicians and experts discuss the duties of immigrants, the limits of tolerance of different cultures. On the other hand, this debate is done and led in a completely different and new light, which is Germany is a country of immigration. We need immigrants, and they are something positive, as you said. It's a big potential for the society. It's like they bring creativity, development, prosperity, cultural enrichment, and so on. So we need an openness for immigration as a common habitus, and difference in language, accent, look, religion. Should be normal and integral part of the self-image of Germany. So after the pragmatic turn of the 90s and the 2000 years, this might be an identity turn. Identity is coming back to the discourse, and the question is now in which way intellectuals and politicians are going to drive it, to what direction. I like the vision of Taub, of the General Secretary, because he's trying to combine the opening of the German society for more immigration and to respond to the anxieties by defining the limits and common grounds for the future. So it's an interesting project, and maybe, I hope it will be able to prevent further polarization. Yeah. I got the sign, but I'm perfectly in time. I finished. I hope it was not too specific, the German discourse, and I hope that you could follow. If you have any question, please feel free to ask, and thank you for your attention. About your question about the German nationals, they are in the statistics. because the migration background, the definition, there are two factors. One is the nationality and the other is the migration status. So in the moment you migrated to Germany from another country or your parents migrated, then you are in the statistics, you have a migration background. Of course the ethnic German repatriates, they don't like to be in the same group like the other migrants from Turkey, Italy.
What's their proportion?
The
Getting
proportion
for German citizenship. Are there a big lot of those who
yeah, they form. You have seen in the graph with the countries of origin. At the third place, Russian Federation, and on the fourth, Kazakhstan. These are mainly ethnic German repatriates. Yeah.
Poland, none?
Poland less, but less. Yeah. Okay. So, in the other question about Europe dreaming or Germany dreaming of being in the same category and in competition with other countries of immigration like United States and Canada and Australia. Well, in part it is true what you are saying, but on the other hand, so one problem is that for the EU that we don't really have a common European migration policy. So as European Union, we are not in this category, of course. On the German level, we have the problem of the language. So to attract really highly skilled, because all this debate is about highly skilled people. To attract highly skilled immigrants, so they go to other countries because English is studied and taught everywhere in the world. And there are not many people who have high qualifications and speak German and want to go to Germany. So this is the main problem. The problem is not so much on the legal level. We know that Germany has one of the most open and liberal immigration laws for highly skilled people. So if they want to come, it's really easy to come. But the problem now, we talk a lot about, okay, we have the law is good, but we don't do enough marketing. We are not out there to say, okay, we want you, you are welcomed in Germany. You can learn German here and there. So now this is the debate we see about marketing, immigration marketing. And you mentioned the point system. I'm not a big fan of the point system because, first of all, Canada moved away from the point system and moved towards kind of the German system. So the point system is a human capital-oriented system. So people who have certain characteristics can move to the country and then look for a job there. The German system is different. People can move in when they have a contract. So they have a contract to work. And in Canada, they saw that this point system did not work completely, perfectly well. It created problems too in certain areas. So they gave more importance to the labor market integration. So, and in Germany, on the other hand, we have, for example, the possibility people can come for 6 months without a job and look for a job and find a job. So it's like Canada and Germany approached with on the systematic level of their immigration law. So if we would now say, okay, Canada and the point system, this is where we want to go, it would be like a step back and not forward. Yeah, I hope I could answer a little bit your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have to